is, and most of the messages are like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, so that's what raw dogging means. But apparently, men are raw dogging flights now. It's the new beauty influencer actually saw it on a flight. And she was one of the first people to kind of talk about it and said, I've never seen so many people raw dog on a flight in my life. That's Michelle. And again, she's a beauty-based influencer. And literally what this is just staring straight at the seat back in front of you. No music, no movie, no snacks, they say. All you're doing is watching that little map on the screen, because all the seat bags have screens now. So you're just watching that map of the plane flying across the country to where you're going, which is part of the thing I would not like. You know, when you're in the air and you change time zones and things like that, I start thinking, how long we've been in the air? What time is it? And I'm trying to always figure out where I'm at or how much longer I'm going to be in the air. And it's part of how I waste the time. If I'm looking at that, there's no more game I can play in my head like that. Not that that's the big enough reason to not do this. I actually use those flight tracker maps more when somebody I care about is on a flight I'm not. Like the last time, like if I'm dating somebody and they fly, I don't know, let's say they went from Canton to Las Vegas, right? Because that did happen. I didn't get to go. Everybody else took their family. I didn't get to go. I have no idea why. But let's say somebody flew from like here to like Las Vegas. That what I would do is then pull up map and then watch that plane. I will do that because I worry more about their life than I would worry about mine. But apparently this is all stemming from a television show, Apple TVs, and I haven't watched this yet, and I'm surprised because I really like this actor a lot, Idris Elba. But apparently he was in a series called Hijacked on Apple TV. I'll have to watch this. I'm actually looking for something new, and I do like him. And apparently he was forced to endure the more than 7-hour flight from Dubai to London without any amenities. Once, I guess the plane's, commandeered by, terrorists or whatever. And so, like, he doesn't get anything. So people, of course, because we all made fun of, oh, my God, kids are learning about Metallica from Stranger Things. How lame. And then, meanwhile, you see stuff like this in movies, and now adults are going, oh, I'm going to fly, huh? I'm going to Idris Elba it. So apparently this is the new thing. This reminds me of Joe Rogan talking about how listening to music while working out is actually robbing you of one of the benefits of working out. That you're giving your brain a release. You're giving your brain a reprieve from the pain. That you should put your brain through that pain. That you will get you'll get a deeper high off of that. I think I can agree with that assessment. What I don't like is telling people who have never been to the gym in 15 years, hey, if you listen to Def Leppard while you do it, you're not doing it right. Like I worry that people are going to take that message. Get to the gym, listen to the music, and then if you want to take it away, take it away. But this kind of feels like this stems from that. I have sat on a plane, no music, no movies, nothing. I have done it, but not because I was trying. Phone maybe died or something like this. I don't know why you would do this. You're not going to get, unless you're going to work up there, what else are you going to do? You might want to talk to somebody. We know society now. Post-COVID, nobody wants to talk to anybody. Everybody's admitting now, I just pray all day, no stranger says hello to me. Like, that's literally everybody now. So what else are you supposed to be doing on the plane? You might as well listen to Slipknot and get to London or whatever the hell it is you're doing. I don't understand. I don't think this makes you tougher. I don't think this makes you stronger. I don't think it makes you anything. I also don't think it makes you the school shooter either. Oh, look, the terrorist is right here. He doesn't need Nickelback for the plane. I don't think it makes you that either. It does kind of remind me of this as I'm being critical of it, though. I believe it was Blaise Pascal once said, all of humanity's problems stem from a man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. And it does kind of remind me of that because there is truth in that. That I think that's a bigger problem for you if you're at home and you can't sit quietly and think about issues and think about stuff. If you're, you know what I mean? There's an avoidance area there. While I'm on the plane, avoidance is what I'm looking for. Otherwise, I just have to sit there and think about the fact that a guy who doesn't get paid anywhere near enough money was the one that worked on this damn plane right before it took off. New Turn Tuesday at 9 has new Ghost in it. Also new Brantley Gilbert. Gracie Abrams has got the help of Taylor Swift for a song too. So we'll give you all 3 of those, and you can vote using the text line at 330-450-7625. You can use that text line all day. And Larry has, as we were talking about raw dogging flights, if you're unaware what that means, essentially people are now getting on planes and priding themselves, on not needing a movie, not needing the iPod, not needing your music or whatever the hell the thing should be, however you're wasting your time with the flight. It used to be crosswords, maybe in a magazine, and now it's obviously moved over into Netflix or all of that kind of stuff. Apparently, it all comes from this show on Apple that I'm going to have to watch called Hijacked. Idris Elba, an actor I really, really like. He was in The Wire, and he was great in it. So maybe that will be good. But apparently, there's something happens in that show, and he's kind of forced on a 7-hour flight not to use any entertainment. So people take everything from TV shows now and it becomes the trend on TikTok. That's exactly what's happened here. And so now people are priding themselves on being able to fly without needing the entertainment. I don't think I would do well with it. I have done it, but I was forced to do it with batteries dying or things like that. I would have never chosen to do it. My drive to work is very short. Very short. And sometimes when I'm getting up in the morning, I'm like, I just don't feel like anything right now. I got to go be this guy for other people. I just don't need it right now, right? And then I'll be halfway here, and then I turn it on. I'm like, I can't, for some reason, I actually do a better job of driving home in silence after my day is over than I do driving here. My point with that is, I think it took me all of 6 minutes to get to the office today. Very little traffic in the morning when I'm driving to work. I think it took me 6 minutes to get here. Not that long, right? And I still turned it on. So the flight I normally take, or more likely to take, would be here to Las Vegas, where my family is, right? It's about 4.5 hours, something right around there. I think I'm in the ballpark of it. So if I have trouble with a 6-minute flight or a 6-minute drive than the 4-hour flight, Larry had been listening and texted in at 330-450-7625 and said, Stansbury, I would have maybe been better about raw dogging flights pre-pandemic. I was like, okay, well, I don't understand there. And so he explained, he goes, I actually picked this up from you. He's like, you're not necessarily wrong. He's like, a lot of businesses have been really bad coming out of the pandemic, and people have been really, really bad. We don't know how to act in public anymore. We don't know how to use our patience anymore. Like, a lot of this kind of stuff is going away. It's probably a combination. I'll stop here, not Larry. I'll start to say it's probably a combination of the lockdown and then also, everything catering to you via, the phone and all of that you expect everything now to be fast. I'm not yelling at you. I'm just kind of talking about how we all are. But Larry said every time he goes online, what does he see? He sees a video of airplane passengers losing their mind, throwing things up and down the fuselage, yelling at one another, smacking one another, fighting and the like. And he's like, I want no part of it. He's like, so honestly, once you get me to my seat, give me my headphones, I'm going to turn on my music and I'm going to pretend the rest of you are not on this flight. Yeah, that's probably what I would prefer to do too. I think you're right. Now, again, I don't really understand the whole meditate thing. It feels very pretentious to me, but I will occasionally, sometimes after work, I don't do a good job of doing this often enough, if I'm honest, but I will do it. Sometimes what I will do after work is I will drive home. Again, not all that long of a drive. I will go into the bedroom where I have like blackout curtains because of the sun in the summer and how early I want to get to bed at night. So my bedroom's very, very dark, and I prefer it that way. I prefer my whole house to be that way. Dark and cold is how I'd want it, right? So, but my room's like blackout. And so sometimes meditating, I don't know. I'm just trying to unwind. I'm not necessarily, I guess that's the same thing. It feels pretentious, but it does work. Walking also helps for me with that too. I'm getting a little sidetracked there. But that walking absolutely clears my mind. Like if I walk the neighborhood, and I will do that a little bit more often than like meditate. I definitely can clear the mechanism out for that. And I will not any longer take my phone or take music for that walk. I used to be like, put the iPod on and go walk around. It's like, nah, actually what I'm looking for here is the silence. What I'm looking for here is just not, maybe silence is the wrong word, but like the ambient sounds of the area. Yeah, it might be a car, but it could also be the bird. It could also be the trees moving around. That's a different situation. Once I'm on the plane, there's nothing to be gained there. There is absolutely nothing for me to be gained there. If you wanted to make an argument about what the better thing to be doing on a plane is, then reading is it. Now, people who tell me, well, I don't know, it kind of makes me sick, I don't really like the feeling of reading on a plane, I don't understand it. I can read in a car, I can read in a plane just fine, but I understand that that can be a problem for other people. But if you're looking for a benefit, or if you're looking for like something that's, I guess, people are going to use this as virtue. If you're looking for something more virtuous to be doing while flying, it's not raw dogging, it's reading. Now, that would, of course, depend on what it is you are reading. Although reading anything from the page is probably better than, like, just listening to the same song 9 million times. But if you wanted to, multitask, because that's another one of these things people are saying, look, man, I'm stuck up there. I don't want to just waste the time. Let me multitask. Let me get through my emails. Let me read this. Let me watch a movie that's been on my watch list. All right. If you're looking to multitask, and if we're looking to have an argument about this, I don't think any of us are, but if we were, reading would definitely be the better way to spend your time while flying versus listening to something. Get your team signed up for the Stansbury Cup, our golf outing, next month on the 24th. That at Raintree, a great track. If you've never played there, this is a great opportunity to do it. Get your team signed up today. That at WRQK.com. Look forward to seeing you guys there. We had been talking about this new trend in travel. Apparently, dudes are out to raw dog flights after seeing this in an Idris show on Apple Plus TV, I think is what their service is called. I guess that show's called Hijacked. I haven't watched it yet. I guess I'm probably going to sit down and watch at least one of the episodes today to see if I like it. This came in off my text line, though, at 330-450-7625.
Stansbury, you know who did the raw dogging was David Puddy on Seinfeld with Elaine.
And he's right, that did, where she was all yelling at him because a woman just can't let a man sit there quietly, she had to yell at him about how he was traveling, and apparently he was just going to sit there. He wasn't going to read, he wasn't going to do a crossword, he wasn't going to do anything. You're right about that. By the way, you can send voice messages via the text line at 330-450-7625. You can also send those using the microphone talkback button on iHeartRadio. So we were kind of talking about this because it's, I guess, this new trend that's going to happen. And people are why I decided to talk about it is you can feel this coming down the road as this is the new alpha argument for sure. Right? Oh, I'm an alpha. Alphas don't need music. You simping pussy. Right? You can just feel Andrew Tate and all those other lying ass losers selling you meme coins online. You can feel it all coming down the road, right? Because they just need that rage bait. They just need that hate, that vitriol rage to come out that pot. They just need it, right? So you can feel I woke up at 4:15, swung the kettlebell around, now I'm not going to watch TV when I'm on a plane. What are you, a sissy? You can feel the alpha coming out of this argument, which is ridiculous. It does not make you tougher to sit on a plane and not watch a movie on the seat back screen. What it makes you is poor, right? Because you didn't have the money to pay for the movie. That's essentially what it's coming down. But, you didn't want to pay for the headphones, right? Don't have the money. Right? I mean, that's the argument. You're on Spirit for crying out loud. Right? That's just, it's not about being tougher. I don't get the argument at all. As we were talking about it, I said, look, I do understand the multitasking. People say, well, dude, I'm up there 4, 5, 6 hours, whatever the flight is. I'm just supposed to sit there? Nah, man, let's multitask. Let's get through my emails, maybe read a book. I don't know, maybe watch a movie that's been on my watch list for 2 years that I'm never going to watch. But if I'm on the plane, maybe let's watch it. Which, by the way, a plane is a great place to watch a movie. You're going to be way less critical of that movie. You know what movie I watched on a plane once? Was that awful Will Smith Netflix movie about people who were halfway zombies or halfway monsters and then halfway, but they could be half human. Bright, I think was the name of that movie. I watched that on the plane. I was like, wasn't bad. And then a couple of months later, I watched it at home and I was and I shut it off about 40 minutes. And I was like, this is terrible, right? There's something about the plane. It's well, I'm stuck here, right? And so something may entertain me in an easier fashion than it would if I was at home or maybe out to the movies or whatever. So I think I could see that. But I went to break saying, look, if you're looking to multitask, I think the better option there would be to read a book, read a magazine, reading something from the page versus listening to something or watching a movie. So, of course, it brought this question. and we've talked about this before, but some of you probably weren't with us. Dwayne asked me, what's your thought on audiobooks versus reading? All right, so this is actually a tough question for me, if I'm honest, because I feel called out a little about not by your question, but by the subject matter overall. When I was in high school, they called this learning disabled. I don't know what we would call it today, but I do retain information better if I've heard it versus reading it. There is something I will do with content for the radio show. I will read it, and I don't like read out loud, but I will take that information and things that I want and I know I want to lean on. You can find me in the hallway during breaks, before the show starts, after it, maybe thinking about tomorrow's show, where I will walk through the hallway and I will talk to myself. Saying something out loud helps me remember it. Hearing somebody else say something out loud helps me remember it a little bit better than if I've read it. Now, that was way more true before I started in the radio business because of how much reading is required for this position. So because, and again, this is anecdotal, this is me, this is not necessarily about people as a whole, but I was asked the question, all right? For me, I like listening to something because of how much I've read. I read so many things I don't want to read because of the job, right? So when it comes down to spending my time, I don't necessarily want to read even things I'm interested in reading. I find myself going, dude, I can't read anything else today. I've already read enough, right? And I haven't read enough. Nobody reads enough. Librarians don't read enough. We could all be reading more, right? But I would think if you're going to listen, if the point of the question was the avoidance issue, right? Then I think you're better off with an audiobook listening to it than you are listening to Rage Against the Machine. Now, music is therapeutic, and there's all of that, and so it's really tough to quantify it, person by person, or really what I mean to say there is by a group of people, because it will be broken down person by person. Sorry about that. I like audiobooks a lot. I'm a fan, but again, it's the multitasking angle about it. This is my argument about radio and podcast versus TV right now. I've been saying this for a year. That why podcasting and radio, dude, FM radio's listenership right now is at, I don't know if it's all-time highs, but it's pretty damn high right now. And I maintain it's because you're not restricted. You can take me where you go. You want to go out in the garage and work on the car a little bit, you can take me. You're down in the laundry room, you can take me with you. You're going to go to the gym, you can take me with you. Your favorite podcast, whatever it is, you can take the audio on the go with you. So I like audiobooks on the elliptical. Right? Like I'm doing the running. I don't want to be doing the running. It kind of sucks. I want to read this book. I'll jump on the treadmill, the elliptical, and I will listen to that book when I'm doing that. I also, this is the same thing as like a quarterback watching game tape. What I will listen to a lot at the gym is this show. I will go back and listen to the podcast because talking about that. And so like